All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Sage Brain Recharge. Yes, we got your chance to watch week one. Hopefully, everybody got to watch it. The new version of the self command module, going over something new and terms, this Sage step concept. In addition to PQ reps, something a little different, that we get to give ourselves points for catching our saboteurs, for stopping our crazy brains and taking a time out, which is kind of fun. And I love the way everything is kind of presented differently and extra modules to check out. And pretty interesting start to everything. And hopefully you're enjoying it as much as we are. Theresa, let's get centered in our
All right,
higher limbs.
we're gonna do a different centering, y'all.
Ooh.
If you can stand up, you may. If you are in a place where you can stand up, you can stand up. If not, you can stay seated. So you choose whichever one you want. I'm gonna stand up. Adjust my camera. Good. Now, I want you to think about your breath and your body. So we're just gonna take each shoulder. I want you just to roll each shoulder back. Good. Roll that shoulder back as just let the breath come into your body. Nice. And now let's roll those
Ooh.
shoulders forward. Yeah. Nice. Breathing in, knowing that you're here. You're letting your body have some time. Good. Excellent. Now we're going to take your arms in front. And as long as you can reach back behind you as long as there's nothing that you'll hit. So just arms moving. We very rarely do PQ reps in movement. Guess what, y'all? You're in recharge. Things are changing. Nice. Now I want you to think about taking your shoulders up to each ear. Up, up, up. I'm breathing in. Nice. Now I want you to rotate your head right and left to your level of comfort. You don't have to get all flexy unless that feels good. Just keep rotating your neck. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Last one we're going to do. I want you to think about taking your hands above your head and you're just going to stretch open your chest. Just like, oh, and release. Nice. All right. Happy brains, happy bodies.
Yes, yes, yes.
I love it.
So let's have a chance to begin by getting up to speed. For those that weren't here last time, we want to hear who you are and your exciting goal
Ah. Oh.
for this time. Okay, mommy side, your microphone's on.
Ah.
We're going to you, Denny.
All right, buddy.
Okay, I'm Denny. For those of you that don't know, I'm Rick's mom. And my goal for this, oh, to return myself to the present moment. My goal is to learn to live more and more in the present. And I hope to use the PQ reps and what I'm learning in this program to make it easier for me to return to center. Things that are going on now tend to knock me off my center. So, perfect time for it.
Excellent. Yes. And Tracy, Lee, share us with us. What's
Share
your
us with you.
exciting goal?
Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy. Took the program, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember how long ago it was, but very excited to join again. My goal is focused around confidence because I think for me, that's someplace I used to be. I've been working on it the last couple of years and it is getting better, but I really think that piece can help me in so many of those other things, the relationships, especially as a mom, as a wife, confidence in maybe trying to find out what I want to do next now that my kids are all in school. So yeah, confidence for me.
Love it. Yay. And I think everybody else we got last week. So let's talk about habit formation.
All right. Sorry, I was taking notes. I write down your goals and then sort of hold the energy for them to happen all through this program. And when Rick and I did it, you guys who weren't here last week, we reset goals as well. I set a peace with my body goal, which I have achieved. I have not achieved total peace, but like I don't feel like I'm in a fight with my food, with my workouts, with my body at all. At all. It's gone. And there was, especially as a fitness person, I'm always like, oh, I should be doing more. I should that I'm good. Like there's this level of no struggle. And the effect of that is I released weight. I gained muscle. I can lift really heavy things. That was not what I was thinking, but that's what my body ended up doing. As a method of getting there. I didn't think about lifting weights, lifting heavy. Turned out that my goal was to have peace with my body. My brain turned me on to lifting weights and working out with an Olympic trainer. So the other one was financial goals, and I set a pie in the sky goal, and I reached it last month. I reached my pie goal, personal record last month. So I just want you guys to understand that and I wasn't looking specifically just for those things. I was looking for the feelings of the things, right? That feeling of I can do this, and this feeling of peace and no struggle and flow and ease, and how it shows up is not my job. So let's talk about how things show up, shall we? You may remember from the original PQ. Rick, did you want to share what you'd set in your outcomes for this program?
If I could remember, do you have my notes? I know it was really important. I think I just wanted to be more at peace in my overall life, and that I am experiencing already in redoing the program. I know when I first set off to redo the program a few weeks back, I wanted to move more in a direction of what I enjoy doing most in life and just keep moving my practice in that direction and everything towards that, and really establishing this time what I failed to do the first time, which are some real habits around doing PQs, starting my day every morning with PQs. And I've been doing well. Good, and that needs work. So I'm glad that we're all doing this together. It's extra incentive to get that down. Though this morning I didn't touch my phone all morning because I've got 2 kittens in my life that arrived on Friday. And, so they were bouncing all over the room and taking all my focus. I was doing PQs on the kittens. Yep. And I re-listened to the modules this morning, and this one cat is totally fascinated by Shirzad. Just sat there and stared at my phone and watched his hands move as he talked. And she was just totally into Shirzad. So
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And the other part that you guys will realize when you're doing this new program is it's so much more inviting. And even just the little celebration steps, the sage steps, which you'll learn more about this week too, putting your feet on the ground and just feeling the ground. When we did PQ the first time, there was more of a focus on I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to. This is just like, dude, just be where you are and just be there for 10 freaking seconds. And Rick will laugh because we have a pod on Monday nights, and sometimes I will try to get as much done as I possibly can right before that pod starts, because that's how my brain works. Like, it works against a timeline. So I've got 10 minutes. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to start my laundry. I started doing little happy songs. I started singing little songs. Why? Because we're using that part of our brain where we start celebrating. And I'm randomly coming up with little songs where I used to would have done it slightly differently, right? I would have been like, come on, get focused, go do the thing. Don't try to do 8 different things. And I'm like, I'm doing all the things. I'm doing all the thing. Weirdest ever. So let's talk about habits and my weird habits. When we create that habit, and let's talk about the PQ rep is going to be whatever you pause and choose. Because we are doing this new program, You choose what rep. You choose what gets you into your presence. So anything is going to happen. Life is going to happen. Things can throw you off your center, as Denny was saying. And it's not the thing that's negative. It's not for me, it's an ear infection. So what? I can still dance. I can still do stuff. I can still get this handled. My mom in the hospital. It's a thing. But being able to truly go, wow, I'm having feelings. I can breathe through them and I can still get present to whatever else there is. That's the gift. And this new program, we're actually going to be talking about the gift in like what, week 2? He starts bringing up the sage perspective really early now. Mm-hmm. But just remember that we, in this particular, like especially in this program, we are all about recreating a habit that works for you. Maybe it's a little song. Maybe you're not that goofy. Maybe it's a little dance. Maybe you're not that goofy. Maybe it's just like I did it thing. But we are going to encourage you to find your thing. Is it a happy dance? Is it a little song you make up? Alan, do you ever sing? You ever sing a little song to yourself?
Nope.
Well, you might want to start. I don't know what's going to happen.
I may want to start, yes.
Right? A song of your making. We use songs for kids all the time, right? We have little cleanup songs and little tie your shoes songs. And I always thought I needed an organization song. We pick the things up, we file the paper. We pick the things up, we file the paper. If anybody has any ideas. Anyway, this is, so the habit formation part is really about you creating new habits that aren't like, I must sit down and listen to this app. No, I'm going to feel my cup of coffee. It's the I'm gonna's versus the I have to's. Yeah, Tracy, I'm just going to enjoy this cup of coffee. And I might sing a little song. Coffee, whatever. It's all that. So keep in mind, our brains still have the bias for negativity. The negativity is what saves us, we think. We had to learn how to protect ourselves. So if you grew up in a very sensitive household, every time someone gave you a face, like, you're really sad, they're criticizing me, they're judging me, they're yelling at me in that tone of voice, right? Or if you experience someone giving you feedback that doesn't feel good, oh my God, they're yelling at me, this is total criticism. Or whatever that is, we have a negative neural bias toward what isn't working. But our brains exacerbate it because it can be danger. Just like when we used to, if you're walking along and we're living in these tribal communities and you see something shaky in the bush, you need to decide, oh God, is it dangerous? Is it not dangerous? Our brain will get all heightened that it is danger before it goes, it's calm. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. So anytime you hear, I did a big presentation a couple weeks ago and I got some amazing feedback. One person said, I wasn't really into the talk about, I said one sentence about chakra. She's like, I really wasn't into the chakra talk. What do you think my brain focused on? Yeah, like, do I need to take a sentence about, this is your third chakra and your power center? That's all I said. I didn't even go woo. But my brain was all focused on that piece of information. Because it could be dangerous, right? It could mean something bad. And that's what our brains are doing. By learning how to accept that, oh, my brain is going to go to worst case scenario, or my brain is going to go to, that's unhappy criticism, or it's whatever. Our brains are going to naturally go there. By recognizing it, we can chill it out. We don't have to push it away. We don't have to fight it. We can just go, oh yeah, look at I laughed at my brain. It's like, wow, aren't you focused on the negative? Huh, what danger do you think lies there? And I'm like making up danger things because I was going to play with it because our brain's going to go there anyway. Oh my God, the world is ending. It wasn't it always though? I mean, aren't we? Yeah. All right.
So did anyone notice that explore more button on the module? Something new from last time. Yeah. Because if you didn't, I just want to call your attention to it, because even though he mentions it in the module, it kind of went right past me 2 times watching it. And this time I went, oh, there's a button up here. Oh, there's an article on neuroscience and positive intelligence and another on the research and the foundation. And what? There are more videos. And I found the videos really interesting, especially the one on how to handle grief. That idea of PQing the physical sensation of grief in our body, PQing the emotion, just diving in, using it as the PQ to get to that place where all you're experiencing is the love, to pull the sabotaging elements of grief out, which he says is an advanced idea and notion. But it's a really interesting video. It's just 3 minutes. If you've been grieving the past couple of weeks because of the election or anything, you might find that powerful. I just want to throw that out. And all these are optional. So I went through watching the videos twice. I didn't hit any of these. So I'm super excited to go explore more as we all go through this together. I also enjoyed the one on, is this toxic positivity? You know, because so many of the clients I work with are sometimes show up in this state of toxic positivity where they're trying to be positive and beating themselves up for being negative. And it's this loop that gets them nowhere, where they're shaming and attacking themselves because they're not positive enough. And, oh, I'm supposed to be positive. And the title Positive Intelligence kind of gets people going in that direction with this. And it's really not that. And Shirzad explains why it's not that, and how PQ reps are so powerful to get you out of that, and how it's okay to have a negative thought. We just go, wow, cool, I'm having a negative thought. Isn't that interesting? Let's do a PQ on it. Oh, I get a point for that. You know, we get to celebrate. That's a sage step, catching the negative thought. So it really is creating positivity, not shaming for not being positive. Again, it's a pull rather than a push.
I want to
And
say, oh, I'm sorry, Rick. I
go
should
ahead.
add to that. So toxic positivity looks like this. I'm fine. It's all fine. I've invited this in. I'm going to work through this. This is apparently what I needed to do right now. The universe is just giving me a lot of options. It's that frenetic energy of, it's fine. I'm fine. Oh my God, I totally called this in. Why did I call this in?
Yeah. Yeah. Or trying to paint a smiley face on a frown. Have your feelings, PQ them, tap them. You know, it's like, be with it. But you don't have to be with it more than a second to get the message. You know, that's that whole notion that he talked over and over again this week in the main module about, is anything longer than a second is saboteur. And catching that is worthy of celebration. And I also picked up this time, I've listened to this now 3 times, and this time I pick up, oh, we give ourselves a whole minute of PQ reps for just starting. So when you do interrupt your day and go, oh, let's do a PQ rep, and do 10 seconds, and that's all you do. When you go into the gym and give yourself points, give yourself a full minute, even though you did 10 seconds. That first crank is the hardest and deserves the most points. And he compared it to cycling, Alan. The first few rounds of the wheel are the hardest, and then you get in the flow and it becomes easier, right? And so I thought that those are my big takeaways. Maybe let's do that now. Let's ask, what were your takeaways from watching module 1? Cindy, what was your big takeaway?
So several takeaways, but I'll stick with one. First, I really like the new format a lot. It was so invitational, and I just I love it so much more than the other one. The other one, it really struggled initially. to get going with it. With this one, I liked. So full disclosure, I didn't have time to watch everything. I had it in my head that I had until tomorrow, and from like the old one.
Right.
So I watched most of it. What I enjoyed the most, especially given things that are going on right now, I think what I enjoyed the most was really contemplating that you allow yourself the 1 minute for those negative emotions. There's just a lot going on right now, and to spend more time reflecting on that was really helpful to me right now.
Mm,
So
yeah.
it's just a funky time right now with a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm
Mhm.
glad we're doing this.
Yeah,
This is
me
a great time
too.
to do it. Kind of like when we first initially did this, Theresa and I, was the start of the pandemic, and very similar feelings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm going to look for that one on grief, though. Thank you for
Yeah.
mentioning that. I did not see that. And
It's in,
Rick, you know, we just lost a very, very dear friend of ours
yeah.
within 3 weeks from his diagnosis. So we're still just reeling from it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So
so I'm going to look for that. Thanks.
explore more on the module up to the right. The other kind
Yeah.
of interesting thing is recap at the top, and that grows as you go through the program. It puts the recap from all the interaction that it asks. It asks you questions and you fill it out, and where did that go, and how do I read it again? It's all in that recap.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Don, what was your big takeaway?
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
So I've had a few really. First of all, thank you for the explore thing, because my saboteur told me that that's more work, and I don't really want to do that right now. But it's awesome, even though the new app is so much better designed, in my opinion, for pulling rather than pushing, and so much more inviting. Like Cindy said. It's just a different take or a different feel on it. But as far as my biggest takeaway goes, which is, it's kind of an odd, I don't know if it's an odd thing or not, but it's not really on the PQ reps in the Sage portion of it. Well, it kind of is, but so what I picked up, and I think the biggest thing that I took away from that, because I even was talking with Nicole about it afterwards, was he explains to you how the sage process in your brain works, right? It's not like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Well, he explains more in detail that, and it was probably even said in the last app or the last program, but either he said it differently or I wasn't ready to hear it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way he said it, when I did watch the app, it hit home, right? I'm not asking why am I doing this anymore, because it doesn't make any sense, right? Well, it's not getting you out of anything, but it's strengthening your sage, which is, an awesome way to look at it. Because like I said, my saboteurs kind of go to like, why am I wasting time doing this? So yeah, biggest takeaway was learning something about my brain and how it works.
Yeah. So Don, to go a little bit deeper into that, if you want, in that explore mode, he says, is this denying or numbing emotions? And spends an additional 3 minutes talking about how it's not to get rid of the negative, it's to strengthen the positive, to strengthen the sage brain. So very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah. Nicole, share with us what your big takeaway was from this module, if you can share.
Sorry, mute button is hard to find.
Yes.
So my biggest takeaway, and this is it's interesting for me. I mean, I feel like it reconnected me to the program, the purpose, all of that, which was fantastic. But the thing for me is I need reminders to, listen to the module. I knew it was coming out on Friday, and I had a fleeting thought on Friday, oh, I should do that. And then squirrel got distracted, whatever. And it wasn't until I saw Theresa's email yesterday that I was like, oh, I got to do that, and I immediately jumped in there. And I thought, you know what? I really do. I mean, I have reminders to change my furnace filter, like what I could totally do a reminder once a week to watch the module, before this call. And that's okay. It's okay to need reminders, it's like I'm busy, I need reminders
Yeah.
and that's okay. So yeah, I mean, I think that was my biggest takeaway from week one, which, of course is not necessarily related to the content, but that's my big win is, recognizing that, and it's okay.
Nicole, do
I
you remember in the old app where he talks about how he realizes that his memory isn't awesome? Instead of beating himself up, it's like, I need to write stuff down. Instead
Yeah,
of being like, why don't I remember? Obvious, it's not important. What's wrong with me that this isn't? No, you just need reminders. We all have post-it notes for a reason.
exactly, right. So
Love
yeah, so
that.
that's I'm excited for that going forward, in that I don't have to remember. I mean, I don't have to think, okay, on Friday I got to do this and I got to, no, because I'm going to get a reminder now.
And Theresa will try to get earlier on those emails too.
No, yeah, no worries, no worries. And thank you for your email.
And I like that he says, go into your calendar and schedule the time to watch
Yes,
it. That's a new thing. He didn't say that before.
exactly. And he's right. Like, it helps
Yes.
me so much to have those
Yes.
reminders.
Yes.
So, yep.
Yay. Thank you, Nicole.
Yep.
Tracy Lee, what's your big takeaway?
I think the biggest takeaway for me was the 1 second of staying in 1 second of a negative emotion. I thought about it that day. It's like, how many of those did I have today, and how much longer did I stay in it? 1 second is so quick. It's like I don't remember that from the first program. So yeah, that one was huge for me. Yeah, there was a incident yesterday where like I stayed in a way longer than 1 second. I know it's the same as the hot stove, and he did talk about that, but I didn't remember the 1 second. So that was the biggest one for me. The one next to that would be a reminder of why this program is what it is, to the fact that it's not just everybody reads books, they take different personality tests, and you do these things like, oh, that's great, but then you forget. It might apply it to your life for a week or two, but then it just kind of falls away. So it reminded me why this program is so much, better, is so important, is that it teaches you for lifelong changes in your life. And it helps me to explain that to other people, because I'll be like, oh yeah, you take this test. I'm like, oh yeah, I took a test too. It's like, no, it's different. So I really like that little reminder of why it is so different. Those were the two for me.
Love it. Great takeaways, Tracy.
Yeah, these are fantastic, you guys.
David, what's your takeaway?
For me, I would say it re-energized awareness, frequency awareness. And what I mean by that is like when Teresa, you were talking about, like when you have this, you want to be happy, and then if you guilt and shame yourself into not being happy, well, that's a very low frequency, as opposed to like when I would be feeling like, let's say, a thought of grief or something, I would then step into the acceptance and awareness that I'm feeling that feeling, which is taking me from a low frequency to a high frequency. And for some reason, that's what really spoke to me. It wasn't, he didn't really talk about that, but that's what energized in me is having frequency awareness. So even when I'm doing the PQ reps, I'm recognizing the frequency that I'm doing that PQ rep in. I'm doing this. I love feeling this feeling. I'm accepting these little nuances of my aged hands, because that's a higher frequency. And that's just what's really been a big takeaway for me, is really being super aware of everything. I was sitting on the porch this morning, and it was getting a little bit of squirrel brain trying to do PQ reps, because I was listening, feeling, and seeing everything all at once. And I was like going, okay, take all this in. What do you want to focus on? Close your eyes and focus on the sounds, you know. So doing one little thing at a time. But that for me was the biggest takeaway, was just reestablishing me with frequency awareness of you know, how am I feeling throughout the day, and what am I feeling when I do when I choose to do something and make a decision, I'm not going to do that. I've been trying to cut alcohol completely out of my life. And yesterday I went to sushi, and I'm going, do not get the sake. And I didn't get the sake. And so I affirmed in myself, David, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. It's kind of like Theresa's happy dance. For me, it's words of affirmation. I'm proud of you for not doing that. That's awesome. And you feel better when you wake up in the morning, on and on and on, you know. So giving that celebration of self, which as opposed to having to like, oh, I can't do this, you know, it was more of the acceptance and awareness and words of affirmation to myself. And that takes me way out of the unworthiness and puts me in, I am worthy of that, you know. So, you know, that's been my big takeaway. It's fun stuff.
I love that you put it in terms of frequency and energy and shifting our frequencies when we're doing the PQs and all that. That's a wonderful way to think about it. And that's my takeaway from this meeting. All right. Justin, share with us, what's your big takeaway from?
Well, nothing that hasn't already been said, but to reiterate, one of the things was putting things in the calendar to actually schedule the time to do that. That was good, because I'm not a good planner and I'm not very organized. So that was a good reminder for me, and something to keep doing. And just basically reconnecting with this work was huge. And I kept watching each of the little videos, and then, you know, filling out the little questions after each one. And it was like, oh yeah, I had disconnected myself from this work so much, other than our Sunday meetings. But I'd forgotten so much. And that's really why I'm doing this again. I haven't gone into old habits. I noticed that that the program really did help me, and it's stuck with me, even though I don't do the PQs anymore, and I don't do the focused attention exercises or any of this stuff anymore. It really has made me more positive overall, and that's why I'm back, because I want to reconnect with it and see how much farther I can go. I know I can go a lot farther, because I know there's things I still need to fix.
I love that. It's like, isn't it exciting that that idea that we can all go to a next level, whatever that is, that we're not topped out. There's room to grow. Yeah.
And I think what you said, Justin, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to fix anything, but your next level might look different than the one you're at now. And I think the idea is also that this is pulling us toward what we want, not like what David was saying, I got to do PQ reps. Like, no wonder they're hard to keep up, because it's like, I got to do them. But now you're like, I'm feeling the cup. I'm feeling my toes. I do stretches right when I get out of bed. And I'm like, thank you, body. Thanks for another night of sleep. I wasn't doing that before.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks, Justin. Glad you're here.
Denny, what was your big takeaway?
That I need to catch up with this program. I don't have enough that I have a takeaway, except to know I need to catch up with this program.
So that sounds a little bit like a push, right? Because I'm catching myself doing that too around this program. How could you turn that into a pull?
I don't know. I can schedule a time when I will be conscious. I have been internally in a lot of upset, and I'm sorry I didn't have the program to help me move through it, which was one of the reasons I say I really need to get back to it, because I can certainly use it for all these upsets I'm having. I've just, so that's
okay. There's the pull. You're being pulled to to be free of the upset, right? The reward. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Alan? What's your big takeaway from this module?
Well, for me, and it's a bit of what some of the folks said, but for me, it's matching it to habits in daily life. You know, as you go through, as we went through the first program, and as we became better and better, uh, my brain went into, okay, I don't necessarily need to do PQs 3 or 4 times a day because I'm in that state. Relating it to daily habits is, as you guys mentioned, it's now the pull versus the push. I won't need to feel that I'm obligated to do PQ reps versus now they're integrated in my regular routine and habits. The difference is the mindfulness through all of this, and deciding, hey, like Theresa was saying, I'm holding my cup of coffee. That's an opportunity, right? So that's the biggest change that I've seen.
This week, you guys are also going to get a focus on what he calls sage steps. Did you guys see this part about sage step? And that means you catch your saboteur and you're like, nailed it. Yes. Got it. That is a sage step. Man, what was I thinking? Oh, that was the judge. I found the judge. You're actually going to start celebrating when you catch. I like to think of it as catch and release. You know, if I'm out fishing, I'm going to catch and release, right? But now you get to celebrate. You get to take a picture with your fish. Yay! Look, I caught it. 10 seconds of that, and then you can let it go. But in the old program, it felt a lot more like, and I don't want to keep going old, new, whatever, but sometimes it feels like when we catch that negative thought or that I need a reminder or I need to schedule it, or it's like another opportunity to beat ourselves up. And now you're like, ooh, I have probably totally used that in the past to beat myself up. I'm glad I caught it. And then you start to celebrate catching. So that's going to be one of the big themes of this week. Every time you catch a saboteur, every time you're like, oh my God, my life is so hard. Oh, look at me. Oh, look where I went. Go me. I just nailed it. Instead of beating yourself up for beating yourself up for beating yourself up.
Then the app has a button that you press that you get to add a point for every sage step that you do. So the catching is one sage step. The celebrating is a second sage step. So you give yourself 1 point for catching, 1 point for celebrating, 1 point for doing some PQ reps, 1 point for moving into sage. You know, and he's got very specific things coming up in a few weeks that you do for each of the saboteur accomplices. It has its own unique sage step. I haven't memorized all 9 of those yet, but I'm learning them right along with you. It's been interesting. I think all week I kept catching stickler. Like, oh, isn't this interesting? You know, like that car's going too fast. I'm like, oh, there's your stickler joining with your judge there. They should be doing the speed limit. Or, you know, like I'm driving everybody's car down the road. Anyway.
And to Rick's point, we'll give you the handout. In fact, one of the other PQ coaches came up with a spreadsheet because there's a specific question you ask whenever you identify that saboteur. And for hyperachievers, it's what would make this journey more compelling, because hyperachievers tend to be focused on outcomes, but then we never get the high. You know, you think you're going to get a high and it doesn't come. So the question is, how do I make it more compelling? And so now every time I notice that I'm trying to get something or do something, I'm like, well, what about this is fun right now? My brain goes, I didn't even ever know that. What? Like, what about the process? And that's why I like martial arts training so much. It's because it's not always about the testing. It's about, I love the training and the camaraderie, and I love the pieces. And it's almost like this work has been percolating. And so Shazad's taken a lot of the input from all of us about what works and then added into more of what works. So did you guys, Rick, do we want to ask them about the plan?
Sure.
Do you guys have a plan? Do you want to create a plan on how are you going to ensure? Oh, also the daily focus? Dude, you just click it once in the morning. And then he's like, if you want to come back later, I'll be here and we'll talk about this exciting thing. And then in that one, he'll go, I'm so glad you're here. If you want to come back later for another one, I mean, if you're, busy, we'll talk about another cool thing. It literally gets your brain excited to go do a thing. So, what is your plan? What's the best way for you to ensure that you get the videos done or the first daily practice? I do it first thing in the morning. I just click it. I just, go into the restroom, whatever, and I just click it and I listen. It's about 3 minutes. Rick, what do you do?
I've started doing that. I thought it wouldn't be available till 7 a.m. because that's when the notification comes through. But surprise, it's there whenever I wake up. So the other one wasn't. So, I don't have to reset the time on it or anything. I can just turn that on and listen first thing in the morning. Subject Mike to it every now and then if I can't find my earbuds. No harm letting your partner accidentally listen to a daily focus. It could actually be a good thing. So let's see. David, what are you going to do to?
I think that the first thing I think is exceptional because obviously when that first morning routine thing, you do have a little bit of wake up time, but I think putting that best thing in throughout the day, because I think I do a lot more PQ reps than the program calculates. So I think I'll be putting in a lot of external ones, and I'm going to just attach that to food. Because I love food and I just like to, and when I use eat 3, 4, and have little snacks during the day. So anytime I am connected with food, that is when I'm going to stop and go, okay, what have I done since my last nutritional input, PQ related, and then do a little moment with that, because then it also gives me a moment to feel that food and taste the texture and cut it and all those things it's actually a very therapeutic thing for me as I get involved in more of a culinary style as opposed to just I'm hungry, I got to eat something. I do more than that with it. So that's how I'm going to work with that. First thing in the morning, definitely listen to the daily focus, and then throughout the day, anytime I touch food, I'm going to recap.
Love it. Okay.
Love that.
Food is your habit cue. Like that.
Bathrooms are mine, so I like food better.
In or out? Which way are you going to do it? Okay, Tracy, what's your how are you going to incorporate the daily focus and PQ reps? Your plan.
I think I'm gonna have to take some time to think about that because I'd like to do it first thing in the morning, but I am not much of a morning person. I have to get up early to get my kids ready for school anyway. So it's like either I have to decide I'm going to get up earlier. I love the thought of doing it first thing in the morning to start your day off good. Or do I wait till after the chaos and the kids are gone and I can come back and have a nice peaceful, no rushing. But I also like the idea of tying it to something. So I'm really going to have to think about what would work best for me. I don't know.
And I also want to say, if there's a part of you that's like, I need blank to do this. I need quiet space. What if you didn't? What if you just click it on while you get up, you go brush your teeth, you go to the restroom? What if you didn't have to have, I need my sacred space? And after you drop the kids off, then you can also have your sacred space.
Sure.
What if the idea of not having the space is actually sabotaging, actually keeping you from doing whatever? Just a thought. I don't know that it's true.
I appreciate that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
And I've given myself permission to start listening to it, get all tuned out and in thoughts in my head and go, oh, that was interesting. Okay. I'll play it again in a little bit when I can be more focused. I need to get something else done. It can be however you want it to be. Don, how are you going to do this?
Well, it's funny what Tracy said, right? I think I'm going to call them my saboteurs, not necessarily call Tracy out on hers, but if the way the program, or the way I understood the new program, right, was try to do some PQ reps before you get into your phone, which in turn for me means try to get your daily focus done before you get into your phone. I think that's me, right? The thing I like about the new program is, I'm kind of going off tangent a little bit here, but the bonuses that they give you for finishing it on time, right? Once I didn't finish it on time, I didn't do the whole rest of the day, because that's kind of what Tracy was talking, or not Tracy, Theresa was talking about, was being pulled into it rather than, hey, if you want to come back, we can do that. If you want to, that's fine. If it's, whatever. So, but what I put in my schedule was to kind of do what Shazad said and do some PQ reps before you get into your emails and your phone and everything else. But I also scheduled a time, I thought of a time, whether it's chaotic or not, just to do the 2 or 3 minute daily focus. I went through all of the PQ rep things with the caring for your pets. I used all of his thoughts, brushing my teeth, the cell phone, the petting. I'm going to pet the dog for 10 seconds. She's going to like that, instead of just letting her outside. But that allows you to do those PQ reps, right? But I'm going to definitely doing it before I get into my emails or into my phone or reading text. We kind of talked a little bit about that too. Our employees get to work 2 hours before I do, so there's always something on my email. So like, talk to Nicole about that too. And it's like, well, they can wait till you get there, or they can wait till we're done with our thing. So my main focus this time is, I'm glad they don't have the bonuses in there, because again,
or the times or no time, right?
Yeah, my saboteurs tell me, well, if I didn't get the bonus, I'm not going to do any of them, but the thing is I don't have an exact scheduled time, but the thing is to do it prior to getting into my phone. So love it.
Sounds like morning. Sounds like morning.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I don't have a specific routine that's connected with the PQ reps. I just want to do it before I get in my phone. That's
morning
all.
Sounds like a routine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get, I'm going to do it at 10:10. I'm going to do it morning.
Well, the thing is linking it to a routine seems to help a little bit. And I think that's what he's trying to do. Mm-hmm. But a routine for me is to get into my emails or texts or respond to this or respond to that. So as long as I can do it prior to that routine, I'm good. I'm not necessarily tying it to a routine. I'm tying it to do it before I do this routine. So that's me.
Let's see what works. Let's see how it works for you. That sounds wonderful.
Right? That you grab the phone to look at your email instead, open the PQ app.
Right. Yep.
Cool. And Alan, how are you going to incorporate this in?
Early in the morning, just before I meditate, and I just modified it, because after hearing Theresa say that it was okay to do it in the bathroom, then I went during the day when I go to the bathroom, because I'm very regular. So I'll do that.
Excellent. And Justin, what's your plan?
While I'm making coffee, do PQs, exercises, because there's a lot of waiting at that point, and it's one of the first things I do in the morning. So it's perfect timing. I can focus on the smell of the coffee. I can focus on the bubbling of the hot water, focus on just standing there and what it feels like to be on the floor. There's lots of stuff. I wrote all that in when Shazad said write that down in the app, and that was one of the things I wrote. The other thing about watching the modules, when I sit down in front of the computer and I'm just about to log into work, and on our chat login, just watch a module before I do that, or right after I do that, either one. And that these are things I do every single morning, and it'd be perfect just to integrate it into that. Perfect timing.
Yeah. That's the key, tying it to those things that we do every single morning or every single day. Excellent.
And Tracy, I just posted in the chat too. I realized when I was telling you, if you think you have to have, I do the same thing with workouts. I have a certain time I want to get my awesome hit training in, my weight. And if I miss that window, there's a 50-50 shot that I'll actually do my own workout. You get what I'm saying? Like I just saw that for myself too. So thank you.
Yeah, and you saying that made me realize I do the same thing. Always like, I'm gonna walk in the morning, get that morning sunlight. I know it's good for me. And then if I don't do that, usually nothing happens. So man, it's happening all over the place for me, I guess.
Wow. Yeah. Boosh.
Nicole, what's your plan?
So I love all of your ideas because I did not have a plan prior to this. I was thinking, okay, there is that moment or that drive home from dropping off the kids where it's a deep sigh. It's like, okay, now they're in their place, I'm going to my place, so I like that drive to listen to, the morning recording, but I like the bathroom because that's probably the most time that I'm by myself for the most part. I mean, of course, children bust in, you know, regardless. Um, but I do like that. And I also like the association with food too, where it's like, okay, because, you're doing that. It is a thing you're doing every day. And I am not dropping off my kids every single day. So I might be changing up the way I'm doing it. So thank you guys for the ideas. And I do like, thank you for giving me permission to do it when there is chaos around me as well.
Love it. I love how you're taking inspiration from everybody. So am I.
Seriously, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are such great ideas. Like yes, I want to do all of these, right?
Yes.
You guys, this is week 1.
All right, Cindy, your turn. Tell us what your plan is.
So again, lots of great ideas from people. So for me, with the we have a puppy. So first thing in the morning, there's some urgency for her to get her outside. So I'm still going to get her out first thing. Otherwise, I'll be off doing other things I hadn't intended to do. But to get out back on the backyard with her with a cup of coffee and just kind of chill. But then coming back in to sit down and do the focus for the day. So it's kind of, I come back into my office every morning anyway after getting her outside for a little bit, just to kind of get myself organized. So having the focus be the first thing that I do when I come in here, and then get into some of the meditations and things that I do afterwards. In terms of getting in and touching base throughout the day, and I was doing this when we were taking the class last time, watching videos before I coach one of my clients and just kind of getting myself either, doing some of the PQ workouts or watching one of the videos, just kind of getting my head straight before I go into coaching somebody. So I'm going to make sure I incorporate those in. And on a different note, I'm going to calendar in terms of watching materials when they come out on Friday, and give myself a block on Saturday morning where I used to take a class, to make sure I'm getting those done exactly. So
Love it. Well, and if you
like
guys
that.
noticed, he'll do a video and then sometimes he'll say, well, let's talk about what you saw in the video. And you just write a couple of sentences. And then you'll watch a video and then he might also say, have a little quiz. Hey, what did you take from, like, did you notice this about yourself? He has broken it up into more bite-sized chunks and interaction. So, and to Justin's point where you were saying, Justin, I don't really know if I have much to add. Well, it's not about you add. It's like every time you guys share into this pod, you're learning something for your system and we're all learning something from each other. Like we've all just, I mean, it's like popcorn, right? Like one of us starts popping ahas, we're having emotional sage contagion. We're all having realizations. So part of it is speaking it into the world for yourself, and then also so that we can all hear each other too. And you'll get little check back ins and what did you think about that? And how to supply. There are more of those.
So does anybody have any questions about this new app, how it's working, how to keep track of stuff, or anything that we can answer at this point? I want to make sure that we get all the questions answered that might come up, technical or otherwise.
Did you guys all have to restart your app or reinstall your app? No. See, some people did and some people didn't. And I don't know. We don't know why.
I did notice that I went in and found my saboteurs, the rankings, and that didn't update because I retook that test this morning, and my numbers are a little different than they were June of last year, and I thought maybe that would update in the app, but it didn't. Maybe I need to restart the app. I don't know.
It says under your notification. Oh, hold on. Under your profile. Go into saboteurs, and then it'll say at the bottom, refresh results.
Great. Thank you.
And it should refresh with, oh, my hypervigilant is 0. Apparently it doesn't know me when I'm stressed. Okay. Oh, my hyperachiever went to first place again. Why does that? Okay, I got to get
Wait a minute. Okay. I'm just getting something that says when I went into my profile, it said this content will unlock once the PQ program begins. Well, I'd show it, but
yeah. Under which screen? Under where?
Profile.
Profile. Yep. And then just just Sage profile.
There's just an illustration of a girl surfing, and it's
cool.
This content.
Does it offer you saboteur on the right-hand side or not?
Yes. Okay, that's the thing that refresh. Gotcha. Okay.
Down at the bottom. There will be more content that opens up each week. I don't know what it is exactly either. So we're.
So my app is experiencing a blank screen on the saboteurs.
Same for me.
Yeah. So the Sage, yeah, you're right. The little surfing person says PQ will open up begins, and then saboteurs goes blank, even though I did do the profile.
And Justin, you can see the saboteurs in yours?
Yeah.
You guys can't. Did you reinstall, Tracy?
I didn't. I was able to get my password set without reinstalling, but maybe I will have to try that because I don't see a refresh button for.
There's no refresh.
That's just blank.
You might need to. And there are still you guys. Rick and I were we were in the beta, so you guys are the first groups of clients to go through this program too. So we're all like, "What's on that screen?"
How does this work?
But you can go into, if it works, saboteurs down at the bottom, refresh results.
And if also retake assessment. So you can take it right on the app.
So you might need to reinstall. You won't lose anything because it's all tied to your email address. And you can also do this on the computer and your iPod too, by the way. There's a laptop version.
Theresa, I have a question. From when you had opened up, you were talking about, it sounded like a shift took place with you. You were talking about with your workouts and food and or whatever it was. What was the shift? Where did that take place like all at once, or was that something that took place over a little bit of period of time? And what was that shift?
I realized that I create this resistance in my life, and it's been something I've been working on for a while. And part of my resistance was to my own self. And so it would be things like not things that I wasn't doing and things that I was doing. For me, realizing that I can do hard things, that I can push myself in certain ways. You remember, like, you were free diving? That sounds incredibly insane to me, but it's like being able to push myself in comfortable ways. And I also started developing and you're talking about my goals when we were talking about the program?
Correct.
Around peace. I realized that I tend to make things harder. And what if I didn't? What if I was able to be with food and have it be easy? What if I didn't actually need to eat as much? So I also did a lot of study on cravings and emotional eating, if any of you want to hear. A craving is a call out for another time and place. So I was craving happier times in my life. If I'm alone, for example, I'd eat 20 cups of popcorn, not realizing I was eating 20 cups of popcorn, because as a family we used to eat caramel corn when things were good, and I wasn't craving all that popcorn. I was craving family good times. So I started separating out my emotional. A craving is a call for something. If it's a very specific thing I want, or any of us wants, we actually want that time. For a while, I was binge eating pistachios and dates because that's what I used to eat with my girlfriends. We'd go out and we'd get charcuterie boards. I don't have a charcuterie board by myself usually. And we'd have dates and pistachios. And that was a call out in my body for social time. But instead of getting or asking for social time, I would eat freaking, you don't want to know how many dates. You want to talk about bathroom PQs. I would eat the stuff because I wanted the feeling of it. And instead of now using it as a feeling, I send myself that love, or I send the people that I enjoyed it with love. That's what I wanted. This is a very long answer to that.
No, that's an excellent, it's a perfect answer. That's beautiful.
And the other one was emotional eating. I don't have a satiety. And I think when you emotionally eat, you can eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. It doesn't hit that button because it's not about feeling full. It's about, I want to change my emotional state. And so through this program, I've been like, what's the emotional state I want to, what am I uncomfortable with? What am I trying to avoid by eating freaking 20 cups of popcorn, people? Dude, that is like a huge bowl. And I thought that was, I didn't realize it was 20 cups. And so recognizing that I want to change my emotional state, if I have a specific craving, I want something about that time or the people I ate it with. Sometimes it might be a milkshake, right? It might be, we ate this as a family, or this was a special treat. Emotional eating is when you cannot fill. You just, and it's a desire to change state. So I started adding PQ thought processes to all of this.
Very good.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right.
Thanks for asking.
Well, you've got a fun week ahead of getting in command and control and setting new habits and working in your daily focus and some PQ experiences. And then next week, we'll be back here to talk about the new version of the judge. And, you know, we don't get to listen to Shirzad scream anymore. So that part is gone. If you miss it, we can probably find it someplace to play it again, but it's a whole new take on the judge. I think you'll really enjoy it. And I can't wait to share and talk more about it next week. And for those of you on the Sage Pod, we'll meet in 26 minutes.
And the other piece I want to throw out is you have two options. He'll say, do you want to do a visualization or contemplation? Everybody, like, you get to choose. If you really want to go deep, go into a visualization. If you want to just listen and think about it, go into a contemplation. Like there's room for all of that now. You can go deep or you can just go. It's all choice. Right? You guys are all excited. It's like, it just pulls you in. All right. We will see who we see. Otherwise, we'll see you next Sunday morning. And thanks for taking on your life in this whole.
What is the Sage Pod? What was that you were referring to? I thought
Sage
this
pod.
was the pod. Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know what you're referring to.
Remember how we met every Sunday for months and months and months, David? We're still doing that.
Isn't that this?
No, well, this is our recharge where we're going through the program again. That is separate, and you're more than welcome to come join us. It's in my room.
Okay.
I'll send you a
awesome.
10:30. I think you're on Mountain.
Yeah, I'm 9:30 actually right now. I'm in the Baja, so yeah, cool. I'll go have breakfast and see you in a little bit.
Okay.
All right then.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
See you in a bit. Take care. Bye, everyone.